Author Phil Dampier said, Meghan saw marrying Harry as a stepping stone to new fame and fortune, and I think that's what initially Prince William was concerned about, and that's why they fell out.
They met, the world watched, and a fairy tale became headlines. But behind the glossy photos, critics whisper a different script. Some say Meghan Markle saw marrying Prince Harry as a ticket to fame and fortune. Others call it a modern romance gone wrong. Tonight we unpack the claims, the family fallout, and the pressure that followed Harry from Windsor to California. This is the story everyone's talking about, for better or worse.
Look at where she's got. I mean, this is an elaborate plan she's had for many years. She married a prince and she thought he was a billionaire. Guess what? He's not. She's
From the palace to the press, suspicion swirled. Reports say the late Queen and Prince William both had doubts that Meghan wasn't planning to stay. William's warnings, if true, exploded the brothers' closeness into a lasting rift. Was it a clash of loyalty or something darker? A relationship that asked the royals to change who they were? Stick around. That question sits at the heart of what happened next.
They're not living a billionaire lifestyle, but they pretend to want to be kind of trying to keep up with all their friends. Because if you look at all their...
Once the fairy tale cracked, the headline sharpened. Meghan and Harry left the royal household and headed west, but exit didn't mean peace. Staff departures, public rows, and a stream of interviews painted a portrait of two lives pulled in opposite directions. Critics say Meghan's ventures, jam, wine, branded products, were meant to fund a new empire. Fans call it independence. Either way, the money story became impossible
Google
to
Harry
ignore.
on the way to the date. Come on, Meghan, give me a break. Of course she did.
She was after William first, apparently, before he got married.
Well,
Let's talk cash. Reports now claim staff cuts and cost pressures in Montecito, with departures piling up. Some commentators mocked the upscale lifestyle against modest returns from celebrity ventures. Was it a question of image versus income, or a deeper, personal collapse of the marriage's plan? Whatever you believe, the narrative stuck, royal privilege colliding with Silicon Valley expectations, and a couple trying to find their footing under relentless scrutiny.
she was a suitcase girl who got a D-list kind of job on Suits, which wasn't even a very successful cable show. And the fact is, Hollywood is competitive. She couldn't...
Then came the interviews and the book, which doubled down the spotlight. To critics, it looked like oversharing. To supporters, a bid for truth and control. Harry's BBC interview and his memoir opened raw wounds with the firm, and relationships that once seemed unbreakable now read like a catalog of grudges. Amid the blowback, both Harry and Meghan claimed they were reclaiming agency. The public split right down the middle.
She's had to let go of multiple different staff members. And you predicted it, Kev, very early on, that this is going to be the issue that they run into. They're not living.
It wasn't just family drama. It became culture war fuel. Tabloids had a field day casting Meghan as the schemer and Harry as the tragic prince. Social feeds turned cruel. But there's another angle, a woman navigating fame and motherhood in a world that both adores and devours celebrity. Meghan's background as an actress and activist was reframed, sometimes to her benefit, sometimes as ammunition for critics who say she misrepresented her past. Let's be clear, ambition is not a crime. But in this marriage, ambition and expectation clashed with tradition. Some friends of the royals reportedly warned Harry, and he listened with a heart divided. The resulting feud with William is now billed as fatherland versus new family, legacy versus reinvention. For millions watching, it's become a modern tragedy. Two brothers estranged, a monarchy bruised, and a couple trying to build a life on their terms.
The thing is, she sold Harry such a lie when she married him. She pretended to be this human rights activist. She pretended to be this hugely successful actress. But that's not true. She didn't really crack Hollywood. At the end of the day, the reality is she was a suitcase.
Back in California, Meghan and Harry explored commercial ventures, image carefully cultivated on social media, pop-ups of entrepreneurship, and pricey lifestyle launches. Critics called them poser millionaires. Supporters said they were simply monetizing influence. Either way, the question persisted. Were the brand plays sustainable? Or was the couple being forced into smaller, less glamorous realities than the world assumed? Money, it seems, was the new battleground. And then there's the emotional toll. Observers say Harry looks lost, a man who once carried military service and royal duty, now reduced to celebrity circuits and book tours. Meghan, steadfast, strategic, vilified, carried the brunt of public anger. Fans rally behind them. Detractors double down. The truth, like the headlines, is fractured. But the human price is visible: strained family ties, relentless media, and the erosion of private life. So, where does that leave the Sussexes? Under pressure, pivoting, and public about their pain. Plans for money-making ventures are whispered, but results are mixed. The image of a couple living like billionaires on a middling income has stuck in people's minds. Tonight we move beyond gossip and try to map what likely went wrong, and what still might work, for Meghan and Harry, both as a brand and a marriage. Now let's slow down and unpack the origins. Meghan's Hollywood past and Harry's royal upbringing collided in unpredictable ways. To some critics, Meghan was an ambitious outsider who found a shortcut into royalty. To supporters, she was a modern partner who challenged archaic systems and demanded a degree of autonomy. The friction began when traditional expectations, private protocol, public duty, measured discretion, met the modern imperatives of personal branding and direct storytelling. Add to that the media circus and historic royal sensitivities, and you had a pressure cooker. William's distrust, the late Queen's reported reservations, and a palace culture not designed for reinvention all compounded the strain. Understanding those structural tensions helps explain why private disagreements quickly became international controversies. Whether or not the critics were right about motives, it's clear the couple navigated an impossible intersection of duty, identity, and money. The business gambit. After stepping back from senior royal duties, Meghan and Harry needed both income and control of their story. Branded products, podcast deals, Netflix content, and speaking engagements were logical paths, but not guaranteed gold mines. Launching consumer products like apricot spread or rose is one thing. Building a global brand is another. The scrutiny they faced made every misstep public and every success suspect. Critics scoffed at the scale and pricing. Fans praised independence. Financially, the couple also lost institutional support, perks, security, and the aura of state backing, which meant the business model had to work harder. In short, turning fame into stable revenue while managing reputation is brutally difficult, especially under the microscope they invited. Let's address the family tragedy, the William-Harry split. That rift is about more than personality. It's about conflicting loyalties. William to institution and tradition, Harry to a chosen life and protective partner. When brothers disagree over a marriage, it's seldom only about one person. It's about identity, inheritance, and who gets to carry the family story forward. Public accounts suggest William warned Harry early on. Private conversations reportedly soured. Once the feud became public, reconciliation became harder. Pride, wounded feelings, and divergent life choices magnified the distance. Importantly, this isn't just tabloid fodder. When family breakdown plays out on the world stage, the consequences are emotional, legal, and reputational. A path back exists, but only if both sides want it and are willing to step off public platforms and into private repair. Now, perception matters. Meghan's image, activist, actress, entrepreneur, was both a tool and a target. The way she presented herself attracted acclaim and suspicion in equal measure. For some audiences, she challenged stale institutions. For others, she threatened them. The media's role amplified extremes. Some outlets framed her as manipulative, others as a wronged woman. That polarization affected commercial prospects. Brands weigh reputational risk, and high controversy can limit partnerships. Meanwhile, the couple's supporters rallied with fundraisers, subscriptions, and direct buys, but the scale required to sustain a Hollywood-style lifestyle is enormous. The broader lesson: in the age of viral outrage, public figures must carefully balance authenticity with manageability, or risk losing both brand partners and public trust. Let's get tactical. If Meghan and Harry want to reset, several moves could help. 1. Streamline the brand. Fewer, higher quality ventures that clearly link to their core values: family, mental health, and service. 2. Demonstrate transparency without oversharing. Show impact numbers, charitable results, and real partnerships. 3. Repair relationships privately where possible. Small, sincere gestures beat grand public statements. 4. Financial prudence. Scale back visible extravagance and invest in sustainable revenue sources. 5. Engage with diverse media to rebuild trust across audiences. None of this guarantees success, but it creates credibility and longevity. Right now, the narrative is one of flash over substance. Shifting that perception will take patience, discipline, and, crucially, humility. Finally, the human story. Beyond headlines, Meghan and Harry are parents, partners, and people who have to live with their choices. Ambition, love, mistakes, and resilience are all part of the package. The fury, the jokes, the product takedowns, they're painful, but they're also part of a larger cultural conversation about how institutions adapt to modern life. If this saga teaches us anything, it's that celebrity and royalty are increasingly incompatible frameworks. One demands privacy and sacrifice, the other demands visibility and monetization. Whether Meghan and Harry find a sustainable life together will depend less on tabloids than on their ability to reconcile their public roles with private priorities. For viewers, the takeaway is simple. Watch the spectacle, but don't lose sight of the people inside it.